All right, welcome back, Aussie boxing fans and the international fans who are interested in what happened in Australian boxing yesterday, Wednesday, April the 20th. Well, here in the States, it was April the 20th. I'm TstreeT Controversy, got my colleague Big J on the line, and right there on the screen, you're seeing pretty boy Michael Mick Zerafa stopping up and coming, former fringe contender um, Isaac Hardman via second round knockout. Now, going into the fight, I'm just going to jump right into it, Big J. Now, going into the fight, who was the favorite to win?
Believe it or not, it actually was Hardman because the bookies had Hardman.
That's what I've been seeing.
Because I think Mick was paying $2.50 and $7 for the knockout. I mean, the bookies. This is what I think. Like, who in their right mind thought that Hardman was going to be the favorite for that fight?
I sure didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what these bookies were thinking, but they would have lost a fair bit of money. So, yeah. Crazy. I maybe thought it was going to be the same as Zoo versus Horn, where the young fellow was just going to batter the,
But Mick is not. But I got Zerafa here on the screen. He's not old, and he's only 30 years old. 30 and 4 with 19 kills, and he only really took two beatings. The Jeff Horn, and then of course he was iced by Peter Quillett. But for the most part, I view him as being a very dangerous 154-pounder. I started viewing him like that when he got that horrible decision against Kell Brook, where the cards were, listen to this, and I got to go back and watch that fight again. They had Zerafa down 118, 110, 119, 109, 117, 111. And I remember that fight being extremely close. Since then, I've been rating him very high, literally about top 10 at 154 as a fighter. So right now, I'm interested to see what he's going to do next, because this was a, do you know if this was a final eliminator? He is the mandatory for the IBF, or does he have to fight another?
No, he's got to fight that Brazilian fella. What's his name? I can't pronounce his name.
Esquiva Falcao.
He's got to fight. Esquiva Falcao. He's got to fight Esquiva Falcao.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Whether that is to be the #1 contender or a vacant IBF title depends if Triple G drops the belt or not.
Okay, so if Golovkin drops his belt, so for those who don't know, Canelo Alvarez is taking on Dimitri Bivol at 175 pounds for the WBA title, the only one at 175. And then if Canelo wins, he's supposed to take on Golovkin current WBA Super, IBF, and IBO for the ones who are interested in IBO champion at 160. Canelo versus Golovkin 3 will be in September the 14th on DAZN pay-per-view here in the States. And it would be Golovkin's first fight moving up to 168 pounds, officially at 168 pounds. So therefore, our understanding is Golovkin would have to vacate his IBF title, and Falcao and Zerafa would fight for the vacant title. But if Golovkin keeps the belt, then, and let's say something happens and Canelo loses to Bivol, we're not going to talk about that, but let's say that happens and Canelo fights Bivol again, then Golovkin will likely stay at 160 pounds, and then you'll have Zerafa versus Falcao. Does that sound about right, Jay?
Yeah, it sounds about right. I think that's what they'll happen. Is that it's all speculation, of course, but from the understanding of what I've been told from the boxers themselves is that Mick's going to fight this Falcao bloke for the vacant title if Triple G drops it. They haven't. No one's discussed what happens if he keeps it. So that's where we're at the moment.
Okay,
so,
gotcha.
Yeah, I dare say if Triple G keeps it, he'll probably have to fight this Falcao bloke as a mandatory.
Now, Falcao fought Patrice Volney on the undercard. If you go back and watch the fight if you have a chance. Stopped him in 6 rounds. Yeah. That was a TD in 6. So basically, it was an interesting fight, especially with Volney's introduction into the fight. If you want to just go Google his name real quick, but solid Brazilian fighter. And me personally, he is skilled. I would pick him over Zerafa. But now let's talk about. Okay, first let's start before we talk about what's next for basically the particulars of if the fight would take place in Australia, or if it would take place on the undercard somewhere. First, let's talk about what's going on with Isaac Hardman. He was easy to hit, and we talked about the day before of, it looked like he had a hard weight cut.
Definitely, because he walks around at 86, so that's a lot. That's 14 kilo. That's like 30-something pounds. That's a big weight cut.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he also had the distraction. Yeah, he's getting married in 2 weeks, and best of luck to him and his fiance. Like, that's a distraction.
Yeah.
And then he's going, planning a wedding and a honeymoon. I've done that. That takes a lot of.
Why you're supposed to be in camp?
That takes a lot of your time.
Yeah, it's so much all the little small shit you got to do on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Where you're like, well, we got to go pick this out. She wants to know, even if it's little small stuff, her sending a text message like, oh yeah, what do you think about these balloons? Stuff like little small stuff, like where you're in a fight camp. You're supposed to, where you're putting your life on the line. You're supposed to dedicate yourself to each fight. So I get what you're saying. Yeah. So basically, are you guessing that, he had too many distractions and?
I think he might have had too many distractions, and the weight. I think the biggest factor was the weight cut, because he just had no, what's the word? Durability for those punches.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think he really needs to go up to super middleweight. I don't think he's a middleweight. He's too big.
Yeah.
He's too big for middle. He needs to go up to super middle.
And especially dealing with the IBF, this is maybe the first time, likely the first time, he's had to deal with that day of weigh-in to stop fighters from blowing up in weight, cutting down and then blowing up in a crazy amount of weight. So that could have played a huge factor. So what do you think he's going to do next? Do you think he needs to get back out there? I understand he's got to go on a honeymoon, but since he's still only 25, this is not the type of fight where you need to, loss or time where you need to take a year off. He needs to be back out there. When do you think he should be back
6 months? 6. Well, what's it now? Say October.
You think 6? He needs
to have another 5 years close.
Okay, well, yeah, it is the end of April. I was great. Okay, all right, that makes sense. September, October.
Yeah, October. Have his honeymoon and all that. Get that out of the way. And he needs to be back in the ring before year's end.
Yeah, because then of course he's taking his first loss, so we never know. Some fighters really take it hard. Just to go, just to give an example of how Oscar De La Hoya pretty much went, on a drug binge after he was had that controversial loss to Tito Trinidad. You hear about it a lot where fighters take a loss, and some of them just don't know how to handle it. So hopefully he doesn't have to deal with that. But yes, I think October, well, let's just say before the end of the year. At least, no later than November, so therefore he can maybe get 3 fights in next year, maybe more, and they can really build him up.
And to his credit, he took that loss like a man. The way that he conducted himself,
I enjoyed that.
He didn't act like a dickhead or anything like that. He didn't make no excuses. He got beat, and he took it like a man, and good for him. But his Ric Flair strut needs a lot of work.
Yeah, what the hell was going on? Yeah, I did know. Yeah, he was cheap with it, but at the same time, the man had just lost, so
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
both of them need a lot. Both of them. He's been doing that for a while now, but it needs a lot of work.
Yeah, especially when you pull something so iconic. You want to make sure you do the strut, like you strut that motherfucker.
Yeah. But it's a bit of fun, so good for him. So yeah.
So now, what do you think is the best? Where do you think this Falcao fight should take place? Like, what's the best scenario? With Falcao's around, you think?
Well, best case scenario would be on the undercard to Haney, but that ain't going to Kambosos, but that's not going to happen. It's too close.
Too soon.
Or maybe the rematch. Because that Falcao guy is a top-ranked fighter.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Was there a rematch clause? Because they were talking about it, Hardman and Zerafa.
Yeah, well, apparently, there is for Hardman and Zerafa, but that won't happen until. I think they said that there was a rematch clause, and I'm only speculating because Sam LeBrew said at the press conference if Hardman was to, I think Hardman had a rematch clause, but Zerafa didn't. And sort of, I don't know what the circumstances were, but they did say it. But I don't think it'll happen until after Mick has the shot at the title, because there would be no point.
Yeah,
there would be no point. I mean, you don't want another Jeff Horn Zerafa situation. So. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they're going to have a rematch, it would be better to let Mick have his shot. If he gets a title, then have a rematch. At least it's then for a world title.
So we got about 5 minutes left. Basically, if you don't know, viewers, Falcao is a top-ranked fighter, and it would make sense for if there's a rematch. If it goes through whoever wins between Devin Haney and Kambosos, which is happening here in the States June the 4th. That's June the 4th for us, right, in the States?
Yeah, June 4th, June 5th for us.
For you guys. Yeah. So if that goes through, let's say the rematch, and Top Rank is pretty good with making sure like they don't bullshit around with rematches. I'm guessing the rematch and then all the belts will be at stake will definitely happen before the end of the year, and that makes sense to try to get, because it's April now, and that makes perfect sense to try to get Zerafa versus Falcao for an IBF eliminator or possibly the title as the co-feature to Haney, Kambosos too, depending on where that happens. Makes perfect sense, especially if Haney were to win. Top Rank will likely stage the rematch here in the States, and then, having Mick on the card and Kambosos, that maybe would be enough appeal to have fans travel over.
Correct.
But I guess on to quick shouts about the undercard. Who are you most impressed with?
Yeah, obviously, Shanika Johnson's biggest share because she won the IBF Super Bantamweight title. She said that she's happy to fight Ebony. I don't think that's going to happen. Ebony's got too many other fights. I think Shannon O'Connell at 122 would probably be the most easiest. Yeah, would be the easiest fight to make. But there's also the other champions. There's the Mexican WBC champion. There's a few champions fighting around in the 122 division. So,
long-time champion Jackie Nava, Yuma Lefasado. Yeah, I mean, they can try, but see, also, hopefully maybe Eddie Hearn or somebody scoops her up, Maybe.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the Shannon O'Connell rematch. Whether or not it happens, who knows? I mean, they can put it on a no limit card. There could be a main event thing, which exactly what it would deserve. That an all Aussie girls fight. That needs to be a pay-per-view event. But yeah, there'll be a lot of opportunities for Shanika coming forward. So we'll just keep tabs on that. The rest of the card, Benjamin Bonga got up again. Had a chat to him on the night. Jack Gibb got up. What was it? Campbell Sonneval. He had a big support. I've never heard of him, but he had a lot of support. He had a good 30, 40 blokes cheering for him. So he had a good support there. And there were a couple of other women's fights that unfortunately I didn't watch because I was out the back in the dressing sets with Zerafa and moving around doing media stuff.
Carly Salmon got a win over Christina Jacobs. Kim Ross and Zoe Puderak, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, no disrespect. They fought to a split draw. That's about when
I saw that fight.
That's when I started watching the event right there, but I wasn't really paying attention to the fight.
Yeah, I was watching that fight, sort of talking to people, sort of watching the fight. I thought I don't know who it was, but the girl in the black trunks, I thought she won that fight. Okay. So I didn't think it was a draw, but that was just my opinion. So. Okay. Yeah, but no, it was a fantastic night. Big shout out to Sam LeBrun Boxing, put on a good event. Big shout out to Nick Noonan and Noonan Boy Promotions, gave us a lot of help. Joel Camilleri, Sam Solomon, Shock, Anthony Man Mundine, finally got to meet him. The interviews on the YouTube channel.
And we have 3 more interviews coming. One from Ben Damon, Benjamin
Shanika
Palmer, and Shanika Johnson.
Yeah, Shanika,
So
all around was a good night. I thoroughly enjoyed myself and look forward to the next one. So
perfect. All right. Make sure you take your time out, like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy and Big J at Old Mate Big J. It'll be down below in the description box. No, actually, it'll be linked at the top of the comment section in the comments. And every 2 weeks or so, we do a Aussie boxing. You might as well call it a podcast at this point in time. We're going to start transferring that into audio form for you guys, where we pretty much go over all Australian boxing. And frankly, I got to be honest, on YouTube, I haven't found anybody that's talking as much Australian or Oceanic area boxing than us. So take your time out, like the video, subscribe. We will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.